Instead of going out to eat this Valentine's Day, how about making this amazing lobster risotto at home? I'm going to show you how. Check it out.
Live trained.
All right, so first step, we're going to go ahead and break down our lobster. So we want to go ahead and crack open the shell, open it up, and remove the meat from the inside. Now you do have an option here. You can use the shells of your lobster to make a stock to make the risotto more flavorful and to add more lobster. However, today we're going to be using chicken stock and just adding lobster to the risotto for texture. So we're going to go ahead and chop up our lobster. Next, we're going to go ahead and get a hot saute pan. So while our pan is getting hot, I'm going to go ahead and mince up 1 clove of garlic, as well as shallots. All right, so we're going to go ahead and break down half of a shallot. You want to go ahead and cut it down nice and small. You're not really looking for texture in the risotto, more so to add flavor. So next up, we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil to our pan. All right, so we're going to go ahead and cook off our lobster really quick. So now I want to go ahead and season up my lobster and get a little bit of flavor on there. So today I'm going to be using White Gull's Floridian seafood spice. So you don't want to overcook your lobster. You really just want to saute it for a good 5 minutes or so. Take a look at the texture of it. The color will change first. It'll become a little bit more solid and it'll start to turn white. So now I'm going to go ahead and set my lobster aside. And we're going to add some butter. You're going to want to go ahead and turn your heat down so you don't burn your butter, maybe about a medium setting. We're going to add our shallots and garlic. Now what we're doing is breaking down the shallots and garlic so we can add flavor when we make the risotto. A little bit of salt and pepper. So now it's time to add our risotto. Now we're not using measurements for this, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. Go ahead and get everything nice and mixed around. Now while my risotto is getting nice and toasty, we're going to go ahead and add some sun-dried tomatoes. Make sure to stir it up every 30 seconds or so. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some chicken stock. You can also use a fish stock, lobster stock, whatever you come across, just a little bit at a time. The reason we're not using measurements for this is because when you're making risotto, the traditional way is just adding stock as you go until it's nice and tender, however you want to cook it. Unlike typical rice when you're cooking it with a ratio. We're going to go ahead and deglaze the pan with some Chardonnay wine. I'm going to go ahead and zest the lemon. Adding lemon zest as well as juice pairs really nice with any type of seafood you made. So as this is cooking, we're going to continue to stir it up and let all of our liquids absorb into the risotto. So as it cooks, I'm going to continue to add more flavor. A little bit of tomato paste. So while our risotto is cooking, we're going to go ahead and put together a little bit of garnish. So I have a second lobster tail here, and we're going to go ahead and cook it on a sauté pan. So here we go, cutting right down the middle. Just like that. We're going to go ahead and add some white gold seasoning. Make sure we're continuing to stir our risotto. So we're going to heat up our second pan, about medium-high heat. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of butter. Then I'm going to take my lobster tails, meat side down, and put it directly onto the hot pan. After about 3 minutes of cooking your lobster, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. We're going to add some wine to the pan. After I add my wine, I'm going to go ahead and use a cover. Any cover works, as long as you get some steam to hit the top of the lobster and finish cooking on the inside. So if you'd like to speed up the process, you can turn your heat down to just about medium-low and give your risotto a nice cover so it steams. So when cooking risotto, it's very different than if you're cooking rice. You're basically adding stock as the risotto absorbs it until it gets to the consistency you're looking for. Whereas rice, you're putting a ratio of liquid rice and covering it for it to steam. So 2 different ways to do it. You can also cover your risotto with the top and kind of get it like rice as well. Either or is perfectly fine. So I just went ahead and reflipped our lobster tails, and it's got about another minute and we should be good to go. So with my lobster tails, it's the same as when we originally cooked the lobster. We're waiting for the meat to turn light. We're going to go ahead and set our tails aside. And right here, this is the good stuff, guys. Always keep your liquid, and I'm going to go ahead and top the lobster with that. So you can see the risotto starting to get bigger, almost like when you're cooking pasta. So that means it's absorbing liquid and it's almost done. Got about 2 minutes. So it's been about 30 minutes, give or take. I'm going to go ahead and give it a taste. It's perfect. So now it's time to finish it up. Next, we're going to add some lemon juice. I'm going to grate some Asiago cheese. Feel free to use Parmesan. Asiago is my favorite though. And remember, risotto is meant to be a creamy dish. So don't be scared to pile it in with cheese. We're going to add some cream here shortly. I'm going to add some heavy cream. A little bit of butter. And mix it all up. Go ahead and give it a taste. This is when you want to add some more salt and pepper if it needs it. Now, while my risotto is thickening up, I'm going to go ahead and get my garnish ready, which is chopped chives. All right, as you can see, the risotto is nice and thick now. Everything has come together, it's creamy. We're going to go ahead and add our lobster. Just the meat that we originally cooked. We're going to keep the tails for the garnish. Now remember, even though it tastes good, we still have to make sure it looks good. So let's get into the plating. So you can use a bowl or plate for this, but just make sure whatever you use, you get everything nice and neatly in the center. Add our lobster tails, a little bit of chives on top, a little bit of parsley to add some more green. And there you have it. Instead of going out for dinner this Valentine's Day, you can make this amazing lobster risotto. Check it out.
Live trained.